Welcome in, everybody. A2D, Run It Back Philly, collab show. Come talk Sixers with us and whatever else you want to get off your chest. Hit the damn like, hit the subscribe. Let's go.
Let's go. This ain't the fuck like this game he stinks.
Oh shit!
It's gone.
Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Welcome in, everybody. This is the A2D Radio, Run It Back Philly, collab show, whatever the hell you want to call us. We're here again for another Monday night. You can catch us every Monday, 10 p.m. We're here. Ryan Brodo, DJ Eastwood, Run It Back Philly, Tom Arnone, everybody out there. Let's talk about it. NBA free agency. We'll go over some rumors there. We'll give you our ideal Sixers starting five. So that should be fun. A little Daryl segment. I think we said we were going to call it, and that's what we're going to call it. And sorry, my mouse decides to not want to work at the worst times. Our Sixers offseason plan ties into our ideal starting five. What can they do? We talked about it a little bit before we came on, and this show is brought to you by our doc. Make him yours. Sure, Joel's going to need to go see him next year. That's Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, locations Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Go check them out right down there. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com is where you can find them. That's going to tie into our poll question, and we do this every week. It's brought to you by Manscaped, and you can get 20% off and free shipping with the code A2D or no intro at manscaped.com. Time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life with Manscaped. Listen, I'm upgrading mine. Go upgrade yours. There's a little weed whacker. You got a lawnmower. Sorry, the weed whacker's for the nose and the ears. Does a great job. Our poll question, and I should be made. It should be split with the two names in here. It should probably be split, I would think, because it's a tough one. And our poll question for tonight's show: Tyrese Maxey should be untouchable, even in a Kevin Durant deal to the Sixers. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's where we're live. Everywhere you get your podcast, we're there as well. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the follow. Let us know you're in there. Answer the damn poll question. The hardest one is for Durant. Like, it's hard to say no to Durant. I mean, I feel like people are like walking around like he's 37, he's 33. I mean, do I want to get rid of Tyrese Maxey? No, but we're in win now mode. So, like, if Kevin Durant's on the table, I don't want to GM. I don't want to be the GM to pass up on that. But then I also could be the GM and Tyrese Maxey turns himself into a top 15 player in the league, right? But will he ever be Kevin Durant? Like, will we ever be able to do what he does on a basketball court? I don't know. You know, and Kevin Durant only won with a dynasty. I don't want to take it away from him, but he only won with a dynasty. He's been there, right? He's been to the postseason a bunch, but he never got over the hump. So, like, this is one of the tougher poll questions because it's Durant. And I don't want to sound like a homer and say, like, oh, you know, I agree he should be untouchable because it's Tyrese Maxey, and we love Tyrese Maxey, and he's gotten so much better. But I'm going to be a homer, and I am going to agree. I felt like I was going to disagree because it was Durant's name mentioned in there. I felt like you almost have to because you're in win now. But the way he developed from year one to year two, I feel like I owe it to my organization. I feel like I owe it to the kid. I feel like I owe it to the players around him to give him a run at it. You know, how much better can he get in year three? Well, I'm going to bet on that guy, and I'm going to agree that he's untouchable. Is there the perfect trade out there that everybody's touchable? Yeah, there is. There is. I would need to know more. I would need to know what else we got to give up, because it's not just Maxey for Durant. It's Maxey, Tobias. You got to make money match for Durant and what? Like Kyrie? I don't know. I don't know if that gets us over the hump. I think obviously we're better, but how much better are we really, though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're really good. We watched the same Kevin Durant get knocked out this year, too. So, I don't know, but I'm going to agree. You know, I'm not going to say he's injury prone, because he's had like really one injury his whole career, Kevin Durant. So I don't even want to go with the injury prone. You can say he had a bad injury and now he's getting older. Sure. But I wouldn't call Kevin Durant injury prone. But I'm going to agree. I hold on to Tyrese Maxey. I'm not moving him. And when we talk about our ideal starting five later on, and ideal for me is more what I think we're just going to be able to keep and have than ideal, because I don't think the ideal thing's out there. But, boys, what do you guys say? Agree or disagree? Tyrese Maxey should be untouchable even for Kevin Durant.
Yeah. The thing with me and Kevin Durant, this is an anomaly for me in sports. I don't usually do this. I absolutely cannot stand Kevin Durant. I haven't been able to. I can't. The guy is just he's one of the best basketball players I've ever seen on the court. I absolutely cannot stand his personality whatsoever. And I would find it hard for myself to root for Kevin Durant. I've just disliked him ever since I can't beat the Warriors, so I'm going to join the greatest regular season team of all time. And then after we win a ring that everyone knew we were going to win, we're going to give speeches like everybody counted us out and nobody believed in us. Like, give me a break. You were the best team by a long shot. You smoked everybody the whole season. I thought it was the cheapest way to win a ring. I know LeBron went and built his own team. I thought at that time that Kevin Durant should have went to the Wizards and kind of constructed his own super team or something like that. I just thought it was the cheapest move ever. And then ever since that happened, he's been like insecure about it and like doesn't like the fact that people say his rings are fake. And I've never liked the guy. I've never liked his personality. I don't want to root for him. That sucks, because Kevin Durant and Joel Embiid on the same team, to me, wins a championship. That's an unstoppable force if they're both healthy. Kevin Durant's completely unstoppable. You can't guard him one-on-one. It doesn't matter what you do. His mid-range jumper, I feel like, is at about 87% for his career. And then if Joel stays healthy, what do you do? Which guy do you guard? But I just wouldn't like it that much. I wouldn't enjoy. I don't know. Is that cheap for me to say, or is that like kind of like salty, or me being a hater? And then the fact that you're also giving up like one of my favorite young guards to watch, I feel like, since we drafted Allen Iverson. I wouldn't do it. Call me crazy. People were coming at me on Twitter all day today because I just put it out there. I said, I'm not doing it. I don't care. I'm not trading Tyrese Maxey for Kevin Durant. I don't care if people think that's stupid. I don't want to do it. Agreeing to the poll. Tyrese Maxey's untouchable.
Screw it. I'll do it. I'll be that guy. I'll be the guy. DJ, this is what triggered, I think this entire discussion. I saw you going at it with people on Twitter. Listen, we all know our feelings on Tyrese Maxey. We all know Kevin Durant's, his sensitivity, the burners, the fact that he had to run to arguably one of the greatest organizations in all of sports the last 10, 15 years to win a title, all that. To line himself with one of the best players of all time, greatest shooter of all time, Steph Curry, Draymond, Clay, all that stuff. Other than that, he's obviously made the poor choice of aligning himself with Kyrie Irving, leaving the Warriors, leaving OKC, all that stuff. I saw the one thing you said on Twitter, DJ. You might have even said this on Instagram, that, you're not aligning yourself with arguably the biggest snake in all of sports. You said that, correct? He could slither his way on over here. I don't give a damn. You can slither. Listen, I get it. I don't want to trade Tyrese Maxey. And like everyone flipping out in the comments, it's a hypothetical. We know at the moment it doesn't seem like Durant or Irving are leave it. We get that. This is just a sheer hypothetical. So do I think Maxey's going to be really good? Yeah. it's Kevin friggin' Durant. It's Kevin Durant. And I hear you, like, yeah, does Daryl want to be the GM that trades away arguably one of the most fun, fastest rising players, not only in the Sixers, but arguably, I think he's up there in the NBA and Tyrese Maxey. Yeah, that could absolutely burst into flames. But me as a Sixers fan, if I look at it, where you have a team with Harden, Durant, and Embiid, and you can't win a title, all right. It's just not meant to be. I'm sorry. It's just not meant to freaking be. And I know we said that about the Brooklyn Nets. Like, hey, how can a Harden, Kyrie, and Durant team not win or go anywhere close to winning? I get it. Like, we've been on our soapbox the last handful of weeks that it's not always about star power. It's about fit. I completely understand that. But I think it obviously would fit what you're trying to do now, which is win now. And Tom, you brought it up too at the very open. Is Maxey going to be really good? Yeah, I think we can all confidently say that. Is he going to be Kevin Durant good? I mean, I feel like there's only like 10, 15 guys ever that have been Kevin Durant good. So
I'll never be a unicorn. KD's a unicorn. I mean, I agree with DJ. I hate KD, and I really started hating him not when he went to the Warriors, because go do you. But then you can't sit back and be like sensitive after the fact. Like, what you did, and that's fine. You want your ring. I get it. Everybody wants to win. It became a super team league for a minute. But you know what? I want to sort of do it the right way. I sort of want to do it the right way. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it the right way, because nothing's guaranteed. I can trade for Kevin Durant tomorrow. Doesn't mean I'm going to win a championship. I see a lot of people in the chat assuming a championship's coming, and I get you. But who's your bench? Who plays outside? And you can say it doesn't matter, but it does. Like, outside of Durant, Joel, and Harden, what do you have? Like, you're the Nets.
Would be sixth man. Niang would be sixth man.
Yeah, you're the Nets, and they weren't able to get over. And I don't want to hear about a toe on the line. The toe was on the line, was it not? So they didn't win, did they? Okay, so that's what ifs. All right, okay. If I didn't have a dick, I'd be a female, right? I mean, it's a what if. What if I didn't have a dick? Then I'd be a female. Okay, that's
I don't know about today, Tom. I don't know.
I don't know either. I didn't want to go there, but I don't know. I don't know. So we're not guaranteed anything. But what we do need to do is keep our feet where our feet are for 2 goddamn seconds. Because every year we want to move and shake the world. Like, we have 4 good basketball players here. How can we get them to be able to play together? I think that's the thing we have to figure out. How can we help the 4 guys that we do have? Because arguably, that's like that foursome is pretty good if you stack it up to other foursomes around the league. Like, it really is. How can we build a little bit more around there instead of trying to go all in again and now weaken ourselves even more? Okay, we're top heavy. Durant's a pimp. He's a stud. Okay, Tyrese Maxey's a pretty good player right now. And it's not just you're trading Tyrese Maxey for Kevin Durant. And you can tell me Tobias doesn't matter, but he does, because you're trading the production of 2 guys for the production of really 1. Okay, I've seen Seth Curry's act. He can. I'm good. That's a pass. Can't defend me or you. All right, and when he's hot, cool. But that's comes and goes for him. It's not his brother.
The one thing I want to say about the Kevin Durant thing, does people say that a ring is a ring? I don't know if I necessarily feel that way. Like, to me, it's like a woman getting proposed to. She knows the guy doesn't really love her that much, but she got a ring anyway. She's like, yeah, I still got a $1 million ring the rich guy gave to me, and he has 5 other girlfriends or something like that. I don't know. Does that really matter? Or do you need to know and feel like that's really worth something, like more than just monetary, right? So when it comes to basketball or sports in general, I would feel like this: if Tom Brady came to the Eagles last season and won a Super Bowl, I wouldn't like that Super Bowl too much. I just wouldn't. I don't know. That's just, I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't think it would be worth that much to me, as much as doing it the right way. What I feel like is the right way. Or I don't know. I don't know how to explain it exactly. I just feel like it would be cheap. Like, yay, we got Kevin Durant, we won a ring. I don't like him that much. I guess I'm just a hater.
I gotta disagree. Listen, maybe it's just a preference thing. I don't give a damn what that ring looks like. On parade day, I'm parading.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
nobody's not parading, but it still feels cheap.
Yeah, I'll get over it. I'll get over it.
Listen,
Yeah.
we'll get over it. We're still going to celebrate it, but it still feels cheap as you're going through it. Like, he's not really ours. Like, you're getting a guy at that age. Like, if you traded for a Tom Brady at 28 years old, it's like a different conversation, right? Because, he's working his way up. He's not at the back end. But if you got him when Tampa got him and you win a ring, listen, it's not easy to win, but you still feel dirty. You still feel a little dirty. You'll take it. You're not going to like give it back, but you still feel like, okay, that won't be the same as 2017, right? Now, for Sixers fans, like, we don't want to give back a ring, obviously, because we don't have one. But for Durant in Golden State, like, you would have proved to me you're worth more if you won another one. The one doesn't do it for me. The one doesn't elevate your level of greatness because it is hard to win, right? But one doesn't do that. Two shows me not only are you a great teammate, you really are unselfish, right? And I don't remember how they lost that one. I think that might have been the year Clay got hurt, in the finals or in the playoffs, right? Was that the year Clay got hurt, Durant's last year there?
Well, doesn't he have two?
Does he have two or one?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he won two.
Won
and he was going for
back,
and he was going for the three-peat, and that's when he ruptured the Achilles. And like my only disagreement with you,
I don't even give a fuck how many he has. So you see that? Like, that's how much it doesn't matter him ring chasing.
What about him being Finals MVP though? Like, because I understand if he
was Finals MVP too, so that doesn't do it for me.
I think we all agree that was
He teamed up with the two greatest shooters of all time.
He legitimately hung out for 3 quarters every game. He hung out for 3 quarters, and then it was like, oh look, one of the best players ever with fresh legs in the fourth because Steph Curry and Klay Thompson went off for 3 straight quarters. It was too much. It was too overpowered, and like, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but it just didn't feel like they accomplished something amazing.
Do you guys hold that same thought? And this is a question, like, I'm not even going anywhere with this, but like, do you hold that same thought with LeBron going to the Miami Heat, teaming up with Wade and Bosh?
Yeah, the only difference with LeBron is LeBron's always there. It's a difference. Like, he's always in the Eastern Conference Finals. He was in the Eastern Conference Finals before he went and teamed up with people. He went to an NBA Finals before he teamed up with anybody. Okay? So, like, how many NBA Finals has Durant been in before he teamed up with somebody? Or after he teamed up with somebody? I don't know. One?
Yeah, same with LeBron. I think LeBron went to 1 before he teamed up, and Durant went to 1 before he teamed up.
Yeah, but LeBron also went back home and won one back at home, too. Like, he almost what he did to go to Miami in that whole show, it almost went away because of what he ended up doing, and he ended up going back to Cleveland. So no, like, that one's not even as worse. Like, what Durant did is worse than anything I've ever seen, because what LeBron did was just put on a show and go star hunting and make it about LeBron. We already know what LeBron's about, right? And he knew, hey, this era, a super team, you need super teams to win. Right? You look at San Antonio and you look at the teams you have to go up against. They weren't super teams, but they ended up becoming super teams in terms of San Antonio, right? Like, they weren't star hunting, but they were a super team. So he knew what he needed to do to get over hump. You just lost to the team. You just lost to them. You just fought against them, and then you leave your group of guys that you just fought with to go there. Like, I got no problem. Like DJ said, you go to Washington, your hometown, and you want to try to put together a super team to go beat the Warriors. Fine. I'm not gonna hold that against you. I've never held against the super team game. I've never held against players wanting to team up with other great players. Right? I don't think that takes away from a player wanting to win or not being good enough to win. Because that's been happening for years. What I do have a problem with is when you just lost to them. That like just rubs me the wrong way. Like, I could never do that as a competitor. There was other teams he could have went to. There was other areas he could have went, and they still could have won. Like, go team up with LeBron, bro. I'd rather see you go team up with LeBron than go team up with the team that just beats you. That's where the snake comes in. That's where I agree with DJ. KD's a great player. Like, he's an all-time problem. Okay, like we were talking about earlier. Like, he's one of the most unguardable guys. Him and Joel Embiid, and they would be a problem on the court. But I don't think it guarantees us a trophy, and nothing does, obviously, right? But
yeah, and I think LeBron lost to the 2008 Boston Celtics, and if he would have lost that series and called Paul Pierce, who he on the court hated, and said, hey, man, I want to join your squad, and then went and joined the 2009 Boston Celtics, that would have been like, well, you just joined the team that beat you. That's lame, But he went to Miami because he's like, I got to beat Boston was a super team, by the way. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo. So he went and built his own to try to take that team out. That's still a competitive nature. I mean, I know it's still kind of not staying where you are, but does Jordan stay with Chicago his whole career if they don't give him Scottie Pippen and Ron Harper and Steve Kerr and Dennis Rodman and you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think Kevin Durant should have tried to take down the Warriors versus jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, like Bill Walton went to the Celtics back in the 80s, right? I mean, this has been going on. It's been going on with great players forever. It just seems like now it's more on the forefront, and we hear about great players going to play with other great players. Like that's been happening, right? So I agree with you. Like you got to beat Boston instead of teaming up with Boston. I agree. That's how it felt. I mean, would I still take them? Yeah, I mean, I'll take KD in a heartbeat. Do it without me having to give you Maxey, but that's not obviously going to work. So.
Well, Kyrie ran out of options, and he's going back to the Nets anyway. So
yeah, can we all agree with that? Because I feel like between Wojnarowski and then Stein, a bunch of these people throwing in all these different terminologies for it. Tom, you and I talked about it in a text chain earlier. It's pretty self-explanatory what happened with Kyrie, right? He wants out, and then he realized over the last 48 to 72 hours, oh wait, nobody wants me, and the only way I can get to Big Daddy LeBron is if I take $30 million less. I go from $36 million to $6 million. And I'm crazy. I believe the earth's flat, but I'm not that crazy. I'm not taking $30 million less.
Not after just losing 20.
Thank you, DJ. Thank you. I'm not losing $50 million because I can. That would precisely be what he's doing. And I saw all the reports, and I agree with them. Like, if there's anybody in the world that would take $30 million less to prove a point, it would be Kyrie Irving. Of course. He thinks the world is flat. Of course. But it's pretty self-explanatory. He ran out of options, and he has until Wednesday or Thursday to opt in. This still means he can get dealt. It just means they have to attach, like for you Lakers fans, Westbrook's got to go, which he was going to be going anyway, if that trade was happening.
I just think it's seriously entertaining to me that he tried to pull and then a list of teams that I would consider going to. You're not 27-year-old LeBron James, with the decision to make, bro. You burned bridges. You played 30% of last season. You always have an issue. You didn't work out in Boston. You didn't work out in Brooklyn after one half a season. Like, it's not the same. And then he puts this, or a source puts this list out, and then it comes back like, oh, by the way, none of these teams want you anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, it gets to a point where, yeah, you're amazing. You're one of the greatest scorers one-on-one I've ever seen. But it doesn't matter if you're going to bring all this nonsense, and why would we want to do that? We'll just keep building what we're building. Most teams. Apparently the Lakers were the only team that actually showed interest, and they were like, hey, here's Russell Westbrook for $38 million or $40 million, whatever ridiculous number that is. And they were like, nah, we're not going to do that. So now you're stuck.
Yeah. He can still be dealt, of course, but you're right. I mean, he's burned bridges. He's proven he's in three places he really didn't work out. He wasn't able to carry Cleveland when LeBron left, right? We saw that up close and personal. Okay. He went to Boston and teamed up with two great rising stars, rising young players that weren't there yet, and he couldn't carry them, right? Actually looked like a guy who not lost a step, but just wasn't as good for a minute, right? And then he goes back, he goes to the Nets, and we know he wanted to play in New York. That was a thing that was made. Like, I want to play for New York. That's where I grew up and all that. And he goes there, and he's special when he plays. But I think what he did to his teammates last year is selfish. And this isn't political. It's just selfish. Like, sometimes you got to sacrifice some beliefs for your teammates, because other guys are sacrificing some of their beliefs too. It just might not be out in the forefront. You understand? Like, everybody understand that? Like, there's other guys who had a sacrifice in the league. He's not the only guy that would have a sacrifice for his teammates. And it's not like, oh, look at Kyrie. He was the smartest guy in the room because New York lifted it, right? Okay. No, he wasn't, because he didn't get time with his team. He didn't get a practice with his teammates. And at the end of the day, that hurt the Brooklyn Nets' chances of what their ultimate goal was, and that was to win an NBA championship. Killed their chances, because him and Durant really never. And then when Seth got there, and Drummond and some other things, right, and Dragic, they never got a chance to really play together. Like, not as something that you can go win something. So, like, I think he burned his bridge. I told you this, right, when we traded for Harden. I said, listen, like, you think that guys don't look at that guy and say, yo, who the fuck you think you are? Exactly. Like, we're trying to win something here. I want as far away from this guy as possible. Right? Yep. And you can agree. Like, listen, I'm not saying I disagree or agree with Kyrie's stances. Like, that's his personal stances, right? But as a teammate, I don't care which way I believe. I believe we're trying to win something. So you need to get your ass on the court. Same thing with Matisse, right? We all bought in. You buy in. Don't do that to us. Don't hurt what we've tried to do here. You already hurt us enough when you shoot. So don't hurt us when you have a chance to play.
The thing with Kyrie is that, forget about like the individual thing. It's always something. It's always something. And that's the issue. I mean, and I want to bring up, because we heard this a lot via Nets fans last year. Not all of them, but most of them were saying last year, oh, it doesn't matter that Kyrie missed half the season. All we need him for is the playoffs. We constantly hear that with Kyrie. I feel like that's one of the biggest misconceptions in the NBA, and that's, oh, you just need Kyrie Irving for the playoffs. He'll flip the switch. When's the last time Kyrie Irving flipped any switch in the NBA playoffs? When he hit the shot in the finals?
Yep, when they were down 3-1, they came back.
Yeah, when he hit, and that was what, 2018? 2017? I mean, I can't remember what year that was, but it's been a minute.
2016, I think.
Oh, so even worse. So I short-sighted myself. He had one of the all-time horrid playoff performances when he was still with Boston before he burned that bridge. Then he went to New York or Brooklyn, and he was unavailable for half the season. Then he got hurt again. And then you see this past postseason, he has a terrible performance along with Durant. So, like, I don't want to hear, oh, you just need him for the playoffs. No, you need to get him out of your friggin' building for the playoffs. Because I saw John say it, like, the Celtics, the year they got rid of Kyrie, or he got hurt, they made a run.
Yep.
Kyrie leaves, they make a run again. So, listen, I understand this goes back to the star power thing. That's why, like, even though this Durant thing is just a hypothetical, I think it goes to the greater point, which I know us three have been talking about the last handful of weeks. It's not always about star power. Like, yeah, Durant and Kyrie and Harden in Philly, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But then you realize, oh, wait, that was Brooklyn, and that didn't work at all. And then you realize, oh, well, hey, if Kyrie can take the minimum, maybe, you know, it could work here because just talent. No, it doesn't always mean like that. It's talking about fit. Like you said before, Tom, you talk about a bench, a small forward that actually knows how to play basketball, a six-man that's not George Niang. I'll ride with that. One, because it's cheaper, and two, way more realistic. Instead of, hey, we got to get all the stars imaginable halfway through a season, and then we're just going to go through the process all over again. We've seen that the last like 4 or 5 years. I'm good.
I think James Harden probably had 2 conversations with Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn and said, "Get me the hell out of here."
Yep.
Like, I think Kyrie Irving is just on another planet. I think he's such a social weirdo, and like, you know, they're probably there at practice, like talking about a play, and Kyrie's probably like, "Why are we talking about a pick and roll when like 1% of the Earth's wealth could feed all of the starving children in the world?" Like, he's that kind of like, bro, come on, man, get this guy out of here. Like, he's basketball and sports, he's not interested at all. He's insanely good at it for some reason. He's not interested at all. He probably says a bunch of like deep, very serious things all the time and just kills the vibe of everything. And Harden was like, "Get me away from this weirdo, please."
Wasn't he known for like saging the court before Brooklyn games? Wasn't that a thing?
Yeah, he's a fucking weirdo. Like, I want no parts of him, and he's tremendous. And I want no parts of his running mate, because I think his running mate is just as petty. All right, just different. He's a different petty. Like, Kyrie's just a weirdo, and he's just on his own little Kyrie world, where the other guy on that team is a petty little bitch. I'm just being honest with you. He's great petty bitch, but that's what he is. And that's Kevin Durant. That's what he is. So, like, to me, like, I don't think our window, like I told you guys this, I think last Monday or whatever, I don't think our window is just 2 years when you talk about the Sixers. I think our window is about 4, all right? Because, like, Joel's, like, not going to forget how to play basketball at 32 or 33 years old. Like, let's not act like that's 40. So, like, in today's world of modern medicine, right, I feel like Joel always had, you know, an extra year or two in him than people thought. I've always felt that way. And with the way Tyrese Maxey is growing, right, you could have a chance of, you know, in 2 years that no more Tobias contract, that frees you up room, and then you're on the end of the Harden deal where, hey, you might still be able to go and shake and maneuver to be able to do things that continue to build around those two guys.
I heard over the weekend, Tom, and this goes right to your point. Somebody say on the dial, oh, our window isn't the Harden contract. It's not Embiid's health. Somebody tried saying over the weekend that the window is until they have to max Tyrese Maxey. And, like, whether or not Tyrese is going to get the max, like, that's a conversation way down the line. That's not even my point. But that's completely inaccurate because, to your point with how things kind of line up, Tobias Harris's contract ends the second Tyrese Maxey's contract ends. So it's like a perfect cohesive unit where, okay, Tyrese, you're now due your money. Toby, you're coming off the books. Even if you have Tobias by that point, you might not. Who knows? It's all about, okay, like you talked about, it is Embiid's health. Is Embiid going to be this unicorn forever? No. But can he be one of the better NBA players for a little bit? Yeah, of course. Especially if his teammates start picking him up when, you know, Embiid's not having a 40-11 game per se.
Can he be top 15 at age 33? I believe so. Can he be top 20 at age 34? I believe so still. Just how athletic he is. He's not your typical big man where he's like, you know, just back to the basket. It's all he can do. So, you know,
he might just kind of age into that more. He might just age into playing more like Tim Duncan, you know, if he's healthy all the way through, like 33, 34, 35, you know, he might age into just back to the basket, turnaround fadeaways, and still be really, really good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's all about health, but he has the skill to play for a long time. You know, guys that rely on athleticism and don't actually have the touch around the basket or the skill, once the athleticism dies, they're done. He has so much skill that if he stays healthy, he could play for a long time and be very good for a long time.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, you know, just stay healthy is the main thing. I don't think even if he gets hurt every year, he's going to have a year where he falls off a cliff. You know, I think Joel Embiid retires when Joel Embiid's ready to retire. Like, I think that's how that works for when you're talking about those types of great skilled athletes like him, where he's a unicorn. I mean, he's 7'1" and can do things that most guys can't. With those call KD a unicorn. Well, you know, Embiid's the same thing. And I think if this team doesn't feel like they're in win now. Every year right now, you're in win now. But it doesn't mean you can't win the next year, right? And if I'm the Sixers, I try to come back with these 4 guys and figure how can I build around them guys with little pieces like we just went and did, right? And continue to build little pieces around them, knowing that, like we talked about last week, if there's a year to trade Tobias Harris, it would be next year.
Correct.
That's when he's really tradable. Really tradable.
Expiring contract. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, and he's maybe not even not tradable where you don't want to trade him because you're like, screw it. He's coming off the books anyway. Right. You know, so there's 2 ways to look at that. So I got no problem with these 4 guys running it back. I think what we've gotten lost with as a fan base is that one of these 4 guys has to change. And I understand that, like, to make some other moves that might have to happen. Sure. All right. But you were just creative and made a move. So you had, right. And then now you got to rely on some of your younger players. And I know people laugh like, oh, it's Doc, but you know, you have to rely on a guy like Shake Milton being healthy. You might have to rely on Furkan Korkmaz coming off your bench and hoping that he's making shots that night. Okay. You're going to have to rely on guys like Paul Reed and Charles Bassey. You're going to have to rely on maybe a Jaden Springer, not as much because you have Shake and Melton, right? So you have those 2 guys. You're not going to rely on Jaden Springer as much, but the point is you're missing another small forward. That's all you're really missing to say, hey, we're going to go into this year, because I brought it up on Agree Disagree last night. I think they're better healthy than they were going to be this past year. And that's just because now you actually have 3 guys that coming off your bench that can score the basketball. And really 4 if you want to count Furkan in the scoring a basketball, right? But you really have 3 guys who can score a basketball, who can score. I mean, Niang, Melton, and Milton can all score. I mean, they all can.
Yeah.
Are they great? No. But they all can give you double digits. Your bench is way better. Way better. That's not saying a lot. But
I think I think part of this fan base gets kind of carried away because I get it. Like, we're by no means, the 2017, 2018 Sixers. We're at the beginning of our run, and we have the excuse like, oh, they're young. They still have to learn how to win. You got to give them time. Like, no, like that conversation is done. That anybody who's still having that conversation is stuck, 5 years in the past. But I feel like just because we're not in that state anymore, people think that we're all of a sudden like the 2012 Phillies, where it's like, oh my God, Howard's hurt. Utley's, past his prime. Victorino's gone. Rollins is getting older. It's like, okay, we're now past our window and we gotta start moving. It's like, no. We're not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we closer to like, okay, we got to start winning now? Yeah, obviously, because you get Harden, you're going to bring him back, and you have more veteran guys. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's like, you got to win it this year, or you're going back and you're looking at all these draft assets like the Spurs are. You know what I'm saying, for 2023. It's like, no, we still have some time before that.
Yeah, I think they're going to sign Harden to a 3-year or a 4 maybe with a team option, or maybe he gets a player option. I don't really know. That would seem crazy at 38. But yeah, it's like for me, it's like a 3-year window right now. If Harden looks healthier, or looks more in shape, or looks like he has a little bit more spunk, a little more pep in his step, or a little more spring, or whatever, a little closer to Houston Harden. We know we're not getting that, but if he gets a little bit of life back in him, that's why I also then think that the PJ Tucker thing lines up perfectly with that time frame. I know $10 million a year for a 37-year-old sounds crazy, but I really just think you're trying to get 2 more years out of the guy. He had a good season last year, showed up in the playoffs, out-hustled every single player in a Sixers uniform when it mattered the most. The guy's 6'5" and led the Game 6 in offensive rebounds. That's just how much he does not give up on a play, even at 37. So I think you're really just trying to get 38, 39 out of PJ Tucker, and then maybe it's a player option in the 3rd year, or a team option in the 3rd year, and you're like, okay, PJ, thanks for your service. I know it sounds like an overpay, but I just think in win-now mode, those are the kind of players you want. It'd be nicer if he was 32, but it's like if he could still contribute right now and bring that hustle and bring that veteran leadership and that dog mentality into this locker room and onto the court, I'm taking PJ Tucker for 3 years, $30 million, even if it's an overpay. And I just think, yeah, if we can stay healthy, Maxey takes another leap. You add PJ, DeAnthony Melton off the bench is going to be just way better than anybody realizes as a bench player. I just think the kid has so much like combo guard skill and athleticism, and his defensive numbers per 36 are crazy for a 6'2" guard. I think, and we were good enough to beat that Miami Heat this past season if we stayed healthy. So I think coming back, even though it's not a splash, but coming back just that much better, can be a championship team. I think any team that Joel Embiid is a part of and he's healthy the whole time has a shot no matter what. So, I think people are counting us out because we're not landing Bradley Beal or something like that. But I don't think you need that much. I just think you need health and a couple really good additions.
Yeah, I completely agree, DJ. And I'm willing to pay the guy at that point. It's not my money. I'm trying to win. So, and if Harden wants to win, that's where he doesn't opt in. He takes a 3-year deal. With a 4th, you can make it the player option. Go ahead. Give him the player option at $35 million in year 4. Who gives a shit? Who care about that year? Right? Because
Josh.
It's not max money, so who cares? Give him $32 million a freaking year for the next 4 years. Who cares? Right? Because in 2 years from now, that money's going to be lower. The NBA constantly going up on how much they're paying guys. If you get James Harden for $30 million a year, it's almost a fucking steal, right? That you don't have to max him, like just because of the name, right? I'm not saying because of the play. I'm saying more because of the name that you don't have to max him right now because he's in that weird period of like getting older, but somebody still would max him, probably, maybe. So, but I would try to get him for 4 years, give him a 4-year deal, $30 million a year, and that fourth year is a player option, and that keeps him from opting into what, $47 million this year?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Doing it.
if you were Daryl, you would go to, and for both of you guys in the chat, and you went to him with a 4-year, $128 million contract. That's 32 annually. Somebody could probably look at that and be like, "Oh my God, $128 million for Harden for 4 years," and they back up. But really, that's a steal, especially for this season, because we talked about it pre-show. He's projected to make 47. If you go from 47 to 32, you're saving $15 million in salary.
I can say
2 or 3 players for that.
I can sign PJ Tucker and somebody else.
Yep.
And the vet minimum.
Back. If people want Andre Drummond back so much, they can bring a guy like Andre Drummond back.
You could get
so many things.
You can get Tucker at 10, right? You could do the 10-30, the 10 for 3 years. You can get a player around, 4 or 5 mil. And then you could also get the veterans minimum, which is 1.8. So really you can bring in 3 players. So that could be, again, Tucker. It could be a TJ Warren. It could be a Bruce Brown. And then the vet minimum, like you did last year, could be Andre Drummond.
Yeah, I'm starting to convince myself that that's more and more possible. I do think weeks ago or months ago, maybe I thought maybe Harden was all about his money, and I think he is. But at the end of the day, when you get to a level of money, I know $17 million is a lot of money, but at the end of the day, Daryl Morey and him have the connection. And if Daryl's having conversations with him and they're having meetings with him, and Daryl's like, "Listen, James, like we both need a ring for both of our legacies. We both want to win the whole thing. We want to bring PJ back. PJ's one of our guys too. We want to bring PJ back. We want to add this. We dominate. We win the ring. You revitalized your career, revived yourself. I finally got over the hump. All this stuff. Maybe Harden buys into that. I think it'd be hard for James Harden, even no matter what I think of him as like personality-wise. Not that I know him, but I think it would be hard for him to sit in a conversation like that and be like, "Nah, I'll take my 47."
Well, because this is what I'm doing if I'm Daryl. If he opts in, right, for 47, I think the notion is that, okay, he's going to opt in this week. And then, by Saturday, they're also going to extend him for, 2-3 years at whatever, let's say 35 million. We nobody knows the number. If I'm Daryl and I see he opts in, I'm not even coming close to signing him until I see what he is in the season. And that could backfire for James Harden. That's what James Harden needs to understand. Like, listen, I get it. He's, he's out there working out. It's like Ben Simmons 2.0. Instead of it's shooting videos, it's James Harden running up some stairs, right? Like, we've all seen it. I get it. He looks thin. I get it. But if I'm Daryl Morey, I don't care if we have a relationship with him or not. Okay, you want 47? Great. You have every right to do that. I have every right to take my time to extend you and give you a 3-month window, starting in October, ending halfway through the season to see exactly what you are. Because if you come out and you're, 1 out of 5 games James Harden and the other 4 you're a shell of yourself, there's no chance I'm extending you, to $30-something million a year. Then that quickly goes down to 20.
Absolutely right. And the bigger thing, and the other side of it, not even bigger, but the other side of it is like we know how we feel about guys that we feel like their intentions are to win, right? Or they care more about the team than money, right? If that dude took that last money for a 4-year deal, people couldn't get their mouths open wide enough to give that man some head. Like they just couldn't get their mouths open wide enough, and that's what would happen. And his jersey would sell like even more like hotcakes than it already has, because James Harden's the guy who didn't opt in the 47, took a discount trying to win, right? And we know how this city would work, and we know how it would be perceived in this city, and how much. Listen, and rightfully so, right? You know what I mean? And rightfully so. So, I'm excited to see what happens, and I agree with DJ. Like, and you too. Right? I don't know the guy, but I can understand. I can sort of have a little feel, the hope that you've accomplished everything else in your career. Your only accomplishment last year would be winning, and you came here to try to win. I believe he wants to win. So, are you willing to take less for 1 year to try to win? Because you're not going to take less over time, obviously.
He would be so loved in the city, he wouldn't even have to go to the strip clubs anymore.
Oh, no, the strip clubs would come to him. Kidding me? And like we talked about last week, we know the Fanatics deal he's going to be taken care of in the back end. It's like, dude, I get it. $47 million. It is your contractual obligation as a player from your previous contract to opt in. We get it. Come on, man. Come on. Like, and I hate having this conversation usually because I hate talking about like what players' money, like go get your money. Like if we were in their situation, we would get as much money as we possibly can. But then I remember, well, I don't think it's very cruel of me to say, hey, drop from 47 to 35 million. I'm not telling you to drop from 47 million to $35. 47 million to 35 million. With everything that you've done with what he has an Adidas deal. I know he's got the restaurants. I'm sure he's got a million things. You're fine.
Yeah.
If you want to win, do what you need to do.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know if you said this on the air before we were on the air, but Kyrie, I think, had the option to go to LA for $6 million, the mid-level exception, and he was like, whoa, hold on a second. I couldn't possibly support myself and my family for an entire year with $6 million. So I got to stay in. Now I got to stay in Brooklyn.
Maybe he could if he didn't lose the $20 million last year.
Exactly.
You guys want to play Daryl? Jump into his shoes for a few minutes?
Yeah, let's do it.
DJ, you want to go first? I'm interested. I don't even know where you guys are going with these projected fives and rosters.
Oh, you want me?
I will go first.
Okay.
Please.
I will go first. The perfect, most realistic / perfect off season for the Sixers. Their starting five, game 1 of the 2022 season, is James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Bogdanovich from Atlanta, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid.
We got a trade.
And PJ Tucker and DeAnthony Melton off the bench. That's the perfect starting lineup. That's realistic. If you can sell Matisse Thybulle to the Atlanta Hawks, I don't know how the salaries match. I just threw that out there. But if you could sell Matisse Thybulle to the Atlanta Hawks, maybe you got to throw in some stuff. Maybe it's not even possible. Maybe some of the salary guys in the chat are, this guy's an idiot. That's not even possible. That's the perfect one for me. The selling Matisse to the Hawks for 29-year-old, 6'7", 3-point sniper, Bogdanovich. But I don't think anything else happens because I don't think it's possible to trade Tobias Harris. It's just not. There's not a team that's going to say, yeah, we'll pay $37 million for that 30-year-old guy that averaged 17 points per game last year. So I think you're stuck with Tobias Harris. Not that it's technically not just like being stuck with. Not that he's horrible, but he's a fourth option on max money, or he's a third option on max money. But I think everybody knows you need a wing. Everybody knows Matisse Thybulle is not a starting small forward, at least on this team with this fit with these guys. Maybe something has to happen there. If you're coming back with Matisse Thybulle as your small forward, we're in trouble, I think.
Well then, hey, I'll put us in trouble then, because I'm going to come back with this starting five because I don't think it's movable. I don't think we're going to get what we want in return. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a way to upgrade this continue to upgrade this bench, and either find myself a small forward that starts, right, and Matisse comes off my bench. But I'm basing this off of Harden taking, let's say he takes $10 million less, right? If he takes $10 million less, what I would prefer is I got to look at some free agent small forwards right now, or some guys that could come in. But I would want to. I know Drummond's a free agent. I would want to get Drummond back here as my backup five because I think he complemented Joel really well for the limited time he was here, and there's some chemistry there already. And then I'm looking at a small forward. I mean, somebody said Cam Reddish. That's a fine name to come off my bench. I probably don't want he's not. I don't think he's a free agent though. I think you would have to deal something for him, but I don't know. I mean, we could deal freaking Jaden Springer and Furkan. I don't know, right? But that's sort of what I'm looking for. I mean, somebody said T.J. Warren. That's a good one at that small forward bench guy. But I'm going to try to stick to being as lengthy as possible on my perimeter right now. That's why I think Matisse stinks, right? But I'm probably not going to trade him because he is athletic, and I probably won't get back anything that makes me that much better unless it's Chicago. So I'll hold on to him. Hopefully he can develop better offensively, but he gives us some much needed defense that we do need. And then I'm going to go upgrade the bench more so that I really have another 5 that can come in and can compete and help carry my guys if they're not having great nights, right? And I think that's what we're looking for. So I'm not even looking to fill that first spot. If it's PJ Tucker coming off my bench and somebody said, well, PJ won't come off the bench, yeah, he will. Okay, let's calm down with PJ Tucker's earned the right to start. PJ Tucker's earned the right to play in the fourth quarter. All right, that's what PJ Tucker's earned the right for. So to say he won't come off the bench, I think sort of asinine. So, I mean, can you give me a PJ Tucker and an Andre Drummond? You guys want to be happy with that bench? Because I would be. I think that bench is really good.
Then you have Thibault starting?
You can mix and match it. Some nights, it depends on the matchup. Some nights Tucker can start and Thibault come off your bench. It doesn't, depending on who your 3 is for the other team.
Yeah, I think PJ Tucker's a tough start at the 3 too.
It would have to be Toby going to the 3. Which where I stand with that, DJ. I think that's 3 years old.
It depends who you're playing. If you're playing the Nets, then PJ can run more of your 3 because sort of Durant sort of runs a 3. So it just depends on who you're playing. I think PJ can pretty much match up and be good enough from most 3s to 5s in the league. Most 3 to 5s. Not Joel 5s, but the rest of the modern day 5s. He can sort of match up against.
So I'll go a little different. I just have 3 acquisitions in mind. I'll go a little different, just for conversation's sake. So I won't include PJ Tucker in this. I'll say he goes back to Miami. I'll say that they'll go right into his bluff, and because I think that's also part of what's happening too. I think that it's PJ Tucker knows that Philly is willing to give a lot more. That's why he so quickly opted out. And he's kind of playing a cat and mouse game with Miami. And because of how important he was to Miami, I think if Miami isn't, able to make the big splash that they're always rumored for, whether it's Mitchell or Beal or Durant or fill in the blank big name that Miami's, rumored for, because it changes every 5 seconds, I do think a good fallback option would be just bringing back PJ Tucker for a little bit more. So say he goes back there, okay, and he's off the table. I think a really solid move would be and this would be at that non-taxpayer mid-level exception that we talked about before the show, the thing that I feel like nobody understands what it means. You signed Taurean Prince to be your small forward. He was just under 39% in catch and shoot 3s, which we know we need guys like that. With a Harden, with a Maxey, with Joel Embiid being double teamed. That was our biggest issue in the playoffs, is that you had bench guys like Green and Niang and Shake, Furkan when he was playing, Thibault, that were set up for catch and shoot 3s, but they just didn't know how to play basketball and they didn't make any of them. Taurean Prince has shown that he can do that. He's just under 40% as a career in open 3s anyway. Catch and shoot just a little bit lower than that. Also, I think you could take him for a little bit less because last year he only was averaging around 17.5 minutes per game. So I think he would come here because, hey, I can go into a starting role on a championship contender per se, or at least more so than Minnesota has been. And I'm getting an increase in a role, and maybe that's only a 1 year. And if he plays well, that can lead to a bigger contract going forward. So that's how I would, quote unquote, fix the small forward. So your starting 5 would be Harden, Maxey, Taurean Prince, Tobias, Embiid. Off of your bench, you already have DeAnthony Melton, which is obvious. Niang comes back. In order to get Taurean Prince and activate that non-taxpayer mid-level exception, you're moving off of Furkan and Thibault. And for argument's sake, I'll go to you, Tom. I know it was a popular name in the chat. You get back a package that is headlined by Cam Reddish. So he's your small forward coming off of the bench. We know that he has flashed potential. We know that he has defensive capabilities, all that. Him as a bench piece for cheap, who's only making 5.4, I think could really help you. The final move, and I get it. Listen, Bassey, they're gonna give him a chance. B-ball Paul out the mud, that's great. I still have the vet minimum just sitting there. I'm bringing back Andre Drummond for the vet minimum. Exactly what he did last year, complete fit, because we know Embiid's going to miss some time, and we know that we are confident with Andre Drummond in small sample size as a starter because he rebounds just as good as anybody in the league. So to run back with Taurean Prince as your small forward, getting Cam Reddish for cheap while also clearing some money, and Andre Drummond as your backup 5, I'd be really happy with that.
Is Andre Drummond, is he unrestricted right now?
I believe so. I'll check.
Yeah, I think he signed a 1 year with us, and he signed a 1 year with Brooklyn, right?
We
traded him. He signed a 1 year with us, and we traded him.
Correct. Yes, he is an unrestricted free agent. The Nets or the Sixers, neither of them own bird rights, so he is a free man.
Yeah, I think Andre Drummond's back here, one way or the other. I think, like I said, to me it's Tucker, Drummond, and you find a way to maybe give me Reddish, and now my bench becomes Melton, Shake, Cam, Tucker, and Drummond. Could you imagine that bench?
Do you think there's a team out there that would pay Andre Drummond more than the veteran minimum, just based off of his 28 years old, and with starter minutes he can lead the league in rebounding no problem? He's one of the just most ridiculous rebounders I've ever seen. He floats to the ball, but at the same time, his defense is spotty. He fouls a lot. He shoulders people. He plays like a football player. And so I don't know how much his amazing rebounding really helps out your team so much. You know what I mean? So I when I see him, I'm like, oh, he can still be a starting center. But then I think in today's game in 2022, is Andre Drummond that valuable?
It's a great question, DJ, because I think we would have all agreed this time last year. And I saw a couple people in the chat being like, you guys are delusional. He would never pay for the vet minimum. He literally did last year. That's literally life. That literally happened. I don't think any of us would have expected him to come into Philly of all places at the vet minimum last year. I could listen, we know where he's valuable because he played a majority of the season here. We know the rebounding, but we also know, like you said, DJ, his deficiencies elsewhere, especially at the line, some offense, a bunch of different things. He had a really bad playoff series in Brooklyn. For some reason, all of those rebounds, it went away. He had no rebounds in that series. And I get it, it was against Boston. They ended up making the finals. Do I see a team paying him, $4, $5, $6 million? Sure. If they're really needy, Charlotte's really desperate for a center. I know there's another couple teams, but I think because there's in the market this offseason, it's so center heavy, Ayton's around, Gobert, even though I don't think he's getting dealt, he's on the market per se. Miles Turner's out there, and then there's a bunch of guys who came in via the draft. I don't know. Capella's going to be available. Another name that I really like, even though I don't know if he's going to be available to play basketball as a backup plan for Drummond. I would love to see Montrezl Harrell come here if he's able to play basketball, because I know he's got some things happening right now. So I don't know if he'll be available, but to tap into Montrezl Harrell along with Doc Rivers, because Montrezl Harrell's best career year was with Doc Rivers right before he went to the Lakers. So to answer your question, DJ, yeah, I could see them paying a little bit more, but I don't think he's getting $10 million a year.
I like Montrezl Harrell. I like that. I forgot. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about his name out there. Yeah, he's in a little bit of hot water right now, but yeah.
Legalities. That's right, Kate. Legalities. And
3 pounds?
This was the other name, too, I thought of. Like, yeah, Boogie Cousins, but I'm pretty sure DeMarcus Cousins said when he was still with the Rockets, like, I will never play with James Harden ever again. So I don't know if that will age well, but who knows? I mean, Embiid and Drummond worked it out on the same team, so who knows?
Yeah, all that stuff gets is water under the bridge if somebody's willing to pay you money. Listen, I think they're all like solid deals, and I think everything makes us better. So it does James Harden take less take less for 1 year. We're not talking about taking less over a period of a contract. So everybody out there, it's like you expect players to take a discount. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's back ended a little bit more. Okay, it's like a Howie Roseman move here. All right, so come on, hop on with us here. We're not trying to shortchange a guy, but he's also not worth max money. So he needs to understand his market too. So, I think save $12 million on a Harden contract this year, right? That gives us the flexibility to be able to go do some things. So, I'm excited about that side of it. Now, if he doesn't, well, fuck us. Here we are.
Tom, anybody who's trying to say that we're trying to shortchange James, like, I don't even think his agent would try and make that argument because, like, honestly, let's look at it on both sides. What's riskier, big picture, for the Sixers? Giving him $47 million for 1 year or giving him $128 for 4 years when you have no idea what he's going to be?
Exactly.
It's the 4-year commitment.
Yeah, because he's getting paid no matter what. He can get hurt.
Yes.
He can, he's on a 1 year deal. That makes athletes uncomfortable. So it's hey, you want to opt into this? I'm just going to let you know before you opt in, like you were talking about earlier. Before you opt into this, just know, I'm not giving you an extension once you opt into this 47 because you're tying my goddamn hands. Mm-hmm. So you're on a 1 year deal. You
will play to your value. If you come in and by January 1st, or say Christmas, say it's a Christmas present from Uncle Daryl, say by Christmas you're averaging 28, 10 and 9, okay, you'll get a little extra. But if you're averaging 17, 6 and 7, all right, well, that's coming down. It's what we got to do. It's what we got to do. And like you said, like if you give him a 4-year commitment, the day after he signs that extension, he can fall off a stage at the strip club, but he's still getting that friggin' money. Like, I get it. Like, listen, 47 to 30. Oh, boo-hoo, poor him. Well, 47 for 1 year or 128 for 4 years.
Also, it's been 2 years in a row now. When he was in Brooklyn, right, he was on, MVP lists and things like that when he was playing pretty well during the season, very well during the season. And then the second round, like game 1, pulls the hamstring again, and he's done. And then he comes back this past season and performs the way that he performed in the playoffs. And so that's really 2 years in a row where he hasn't been James Harden when it mattered the most. So, yeah, it's risky to give him a 4-year contract in the first place. So he should even be, when you really look at everything that's happened recently and your age and everything, he should be happy that somebody even throws that number out there, that amount of years. Opting into one, it's like, I don't know. The past 2 years, you haven't been James Harden. So how can I know that? I got to see what you got at the end of the day. And no matter how much Daryl Morey loves the guy as a person, I got to see what you got.
He should be sending Morey freaking gift cards to steakhouses and shit if he's willing to give him 4 years. You know what I mean? Like anybody that's willing to give that guy 4 years, he should owe him. He should owe him his life. Like, man, I owe you. My family owes you. Because in reality, nobody's going to give him more than like 2 years. Prove it. Like they'll give him 2 because of his name. So obviously he can get 2 somewhere, but that's all he's getting. He's not getting 4 years by anybody.
Well, see, I disagree with that, but this is my point though. I think you're getting that from teams, but no team that can win. So it contradicts everything he's talked about that, all I'd want to do is win.
You think somebody would give him max money?
No, not max money, but would overpay for him and give him a long-term commitment.
Well, we're overpaying.
The Kings.
Yeah, the Kings.
Okay, but they're going to give more than – we're talking about 4 years, $30 million a year or $32 million a year, right? Like, okay, I don't think anybody's going to give much more than that, and that's what we're talking about. So what are the Kings going to give 4 years, average of $38 million a year? I mean, now we're talking about a couple bucks, right? So look, I don't think that would be worth it. My point is nobody's going to max him, right? So everybody's going to be around the same amount of money. So maybe he get like $20 million more over 4 years with Sacramento, right? But nobody's going to max him is my point.
I wouldn't put anything past the New York Knicks if they can't get Jalen Brunson to be
no shot they max. No, listen, I will literally bet on a lot. I would literally put my house up that the New York Knicks, as bad as they are, still wouldn't get James Harden a max deal.
I'll give you 2 words.
If that happened, then James Dolan is calling the shots himself.
DJ, I was just going to say that. I was going to say, Tom, I'll give you 2 words. James Dolan.
And I'll give you 2 back. Leon Rose. And I don't think he went there to be a lame duck. I don't think he went there to allow James Dolan. In my respect for Leon Rose, I don't think he went there to play puppet master or puppet to the master. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think he was brought there to worry about basketball stuff and try to keep Dolan away by their people with shares into that basketball team, because Jalen Brunson isn't a James Dolan move. Jalen Brunson is a Leon Rose move, right? And that's how I look at that. He looks at having an RJ Barrett. Can I team him up? Can I team him up with Jalen Brunson where we could be really good? But I hear you, Ryan. I'll never run from James Dolan as a loser. And sure, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I was going to hit you with 5 more words. James Dolan is the owner, but you and I are on the same page. We're on the same page.
What do you think about what they did draft night? Coming away with basically future protected first-round picks for number 11.
DJ, I was watching it with a couple A2D guys. I am not even embarrassed to say this because I feel like this was like the sentiment all throughout the NBA. It took me about 6 hours to figure out what the hell they did. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, you're moving this for no salary, and then you're trading this pick for 3, and then they subtracted it by 2, but then they added 2 future picks.
Just to dump Kemba Walker's salary.
By the way, I will take Kemba Walker at the vet minimum. I will do that.
So all the fans were talking the whole leading up to that about, like, we could possibly trade up to number 4. We could do this. We can do that. And nothing happened besides getting rid of Kemba's salary and trading number 11 for future first-round picks. So my heart goes out to Knicks fans. It just keeps getting worse for you guys.
I think their plan, DJ, was to get Jaden Ivey, then followed up by clearing money and then getting Brunson to pair Brunson with Ivey. But as soon as the Pistons got Ivy, they're like, why would we trade you Jaden Ivey? Why would we do that? For Julius Randle? That's funny. Like, no.
Well, I think
that was an entertaining draft.
I think that they believe Brunson, Barrett, and Randle can win their basketball games. Now, how many? I don't know. But I do believe that they think that can win. I'm not running for that big 3, but, I think that they feel like that's a good start, and then with a lot of draft picks, and they can then move and shake for other guys down the road. That's how they got to be thinking. That's the only thing that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hope they like playoff bubble. You know what I'm saying? I hope they like the playoff bubble weekend. Like, if you try and sell me Ivy, Brunson, and Barrett, like, yeah, I can buy into that because you're not expected to win right away, but you have the potential to be fun. But, like, I swear to God, like, what the Knicks have right now, and I know they're trying to clear everybody, it's just a bunch of, like, mid. You know what I'm saying? Like, Alec Burks, old man Derrick Rose, Julius Randle, Evan Fournier, who's getting paid $12 million too much.
Yeah, I still think they're good though. If they got Brunson, I think they're back to being a playoff team again, and not like one of the ones out. Like they're probably like a 6 to 8 seed at that point. Like
it was funny to
yeah. Go ahead.
I thought it was funny to watch last year the battle kind of between Julius Randle not accepting the fact that he might not be the number 1 option on that team, because RJ Barrett would have like a 30-point game and Julius Randle would come out in the fourth quarter just jacking up horrible shots. It was Julius Randle to me is you got to get rid of that guy, man. I don't think he makes anybody better.
I completely agree. Like, who's their prototypical? Like, say they add Brunson. Who's their number 1? because I don't think Brunson's a 1. I know that contract's going to say he's a 1. I would have given the keys to Barrett, but it seems like it's Thibodeau. And Thibodeau's weird. Like sometimes he won't even play RJ Barrett in the friggin' fourth quarter and he'll sit him halfway through the third quarter. It doesn't make any sense. I look at
Tamithian in the chat says everyone who laughed at the Knicks are going to be crying when they cash them picks in the future. Bro, they haven't won. That's like me saying that about the Sixers. Why would I have faith that the Sixers are going to work some kind of magic and you guys are going to see? It's been 40 years. There's no reason to believe that.
That same person who said that probably thought they were for sure going to get Zion Williamson in the draft. And then it's like, oh, wait, he's going to be a Pelican? Like, no, I'm not going to assume the Knicks do anything but lose.
If the Sixers had number 11 and traded it for future protected first-round picks unless they were unless it was in those years where they were clearly actively tanking. But when you think, okay, we're building something, and then they do that, you're like, oh my, what? Okay, so we are still tanking, or what? What are we doing? Can I get a blueprint? Can somebody tell me what we're doing?
They can't tell you what you're doing. That's the problem. That's why, I so badly want Jalen Brunson to, and they're so desperate for him because they signed. Correct me if I'm wrong. They signed his father as an assistant coach. Correct, Brunson. I'm pretty sure he's an assistant coach on the team right now. So they're moving mountains for him. Is it guaranteed Brunson goes there? I mean, I would imagine so. But
to play in New York, yeah. I mean,
with his father, yeah.
Not even. I mean, forget that even being there. Just the chance to play at Madison Square Garden. There's still an allure to that. Even though we know what they've been, there's still for especially younger players too. There's still something to be said about playing at the Garden. I mean, I hate the Knicks. You know what I mean? But me just as a person with I can play in the Garden or I can play in Dallas. I mean, Dallas is a nice place to live. Don't get me wrong. Weather's great, but I would much rather play in the Garden.
What's their deal? I've kind of been wondering why it's kind of known that Jalen Brunson's out of there. What's up with Dallas and Jalen Brunson? Why wouldn't you want to play with Luka and come back and always be in the conversation?
It's from my understanding, EJ, it's a very similar situation to where we are in Philly, where if you bring back Brunson to a certain amount of money, which he's going to want, you really can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And that's going to hurt because, Hardaway, he's a nice third option, but he's always hurt. Bertans is just a guy who's making way too much money. I know they got Christian Wood, and I believe they need to get a center too, because I want to say Dorian Finney-Smith is going to be a free agent. I know he's not their center. I know it's Dwight Powell. But I know they have a couple impending free agents. So they need to make 3 moves. And if you sign, Brunson to, let's say, $30 million a year, they're kind of stuck.
True. Makes sense.
Greg, yes, he was the head coach at Camden High. And then he was added to the Knicks staff as of June 2nd. So he just was added. So
someone in the chat, Philly needs shooting. PJ is not a good shooter. Well, 41.5% from 3 last season and 46.5% on corner threes. It led the NBA. My goodness, you had to intentionally be that wrong. You had to try. There's no way.
That's a skill. That's a skill.
I think Tucker and Niang really stretches this out in a different way too. Niang can't play D, but Tucker can. They can both sort of get hot at times. I'll keep saying it. You have Drummond, Niang, Tucker, Milton, and Melton off your bench. I mean, you're way better. You're way better. Way better. Is it enough to cut nets down? I don't know, but you're way better.
KZ, I propose a trade that can absolutely, realistically be done. A 3-team trade that'll send Harden to Utah. Utah sends Donovan Mitchell to Brooklyn to make KD and Kyrie happy, and the Sixers get Seth and Griffin.
3-team trade sends Harden to what?
First off, why is Utah doing that? 2, you're really obsessed with Seth Curry, aren't you? So you're getting rid of that. You're making KD and Kyrie happy. You're making Brooklyn that much better. And you're going to sleep at night saying, hey, at least we have 50-year-old Blake Griffin and Seth Curry who can't defend a cone?
Wait, we traded Harden and we didn't get Donovan Mitchell or Kyrie or KD?
No. We got Blake Griffin who's...
Wait, that's Kyrie and Blake Griffin out of that?
All right. I think it's bedtime for me. This is getting to be a little...
I don't drink, but I might start drinking. Everything in the house.
Harden in Utah would be insane. I mean, he'd be all by himself. So
Utah
we're
has
thinking
no
about
strip
it.
clubs.
Oh, we're thinking about it, and then it's hurting.
Utah has no strip clubs.
Yep. It's hurting me.
And Brandon, all I was saying about the Knicks is I think it puts them back into the top 8. They got Brunson. I mean, it's only fair. They were a playoff team not even a year ago. You know, a calendar year ago, you know, they were in a real great series with the Hawks, who were like the Cinderella story. So to say that they would be back into that same situation with Brunson, I don't think it's crazy talk. Like I really don't. Like we talked about, they got some scoring there. Like I don't like the Knicks at all, but
it's not you. It's crack pipe to KZ.
No. He's not crack piping me. He commented like 35 comments ago, and I just didn't get to it yet.
Gotcha.
Because I didn't want the show to go off the rails. But I understand what he's saying. Like, yes, those teams that he puts ahead of the Knicks, I agree with. But they could be right back to being a relevant playoff team again. Makes sense? And that in New York sells tickets. That in New York sells jerseys, right? And at the end of the day, that's what the bottom line is for these teams.
Man.
Oh,
my God, yeah. I always bring Ben back. Trade Harden.
How does Blake Griffin fit with Joel Embiid?
Blake Griffin's not perfect for the Guangdong Tigers. We freaking joking.
Blake Griffin 8 years ago fit with Joel Embiid. Like when he actually was a stretch 4 and was athletic as shit. Now Blake doesn't fit with anybody. He doesn't even fit in his own household. You know what I mean? They're like, Blake, I don't think you fit at the dinner table, buddy. Why don't you just go sit at the island? All right? Sit the island by yourself. All right? We don't.
Listen, even if that was Blake Griffin's burner, I still wouldn't believe it. Blake Griffin's not saying that. Come on, man.
Oh my God, people are talking about Mo Harkless now.
But KZ, thank you for the content, though. I'm not.
Yes, thank you.
In all honesty, thank you for the content.
I enjoy laughing, so thank you. Laughing is it's a good thing to laugh.
Well, we'll see what the Sixers do, boys. Another great Monday night. Looking forward to doing it next Monday. As we get closer, we're obviously gonna get some Eagles conversation rolling. I'm sure. As we get in the August a little bit. We'll probably have a little bit of mixed bag for you of not only Sixers but Eagles too. And you know, if the Phillies somehow find a way to fight through this, which is the injury of Bryce Harper, you know, as playoff time gets closer there, I mean, you know, maybe we'll have some content for the Phils as well. You gonna say something, Ryan?
I'm just reading.
I'm
just reading. I'm trying not to say things, Tom. This is what I'll say. This is all I'll say.
Here we go. EAGLES, Eagles.
That's my thought.
Almost time. Almost time for the pom-poms. 11 win.
I'm going to the game on Friday, man, and Bryce gets his thumb broken 2 days ago. The week that I'm going to my first Phillies game of the year, Bryce breaks his thumb. Never broke a bone before in his life.
Yep.
We should get to see the fireworks, though. That's a fireworks game, right, DJ?
Yeah. July 1st.
You get to see the fucking fireworks. And it's unbelievable. This is what we're selling each other
solid
on.
Show. It's a solid fireworks show.
No. I'm not disagreeing. They put on a great show.
It's like the best part of the Phillies the last 10 years. I got to tell you.
It's unbelievable. We got to sell the guy on. I mean, I'm going to try to sell you on a little bit more, DJ. You know, I think they're going to be able to tread it. Right. I think this lineup should be good enough. And I said it last night, you know, sometimes in this sport, this makes guys focused a little bit more. Right. Guys know that they have to hunker down. Right. Look in the mirror a little bit. You know, is a Bryce Harper injury something you can overcome for months and months on end? No. But can they overcome it for 2? I believe they can. Yeah. I believe they can. Right. And we'll see. But I believe Rob Thompson really helps them overcoming this. And Got a lot of talent still in this lineup. So let's go find a way, boys. Let's go do it for Bryce, huh? Do it for Bryce.
Definitely. Just for me being I'm the most fair weather Phillies fan of all time. So, Bryce Harper is a big time attraction for me to watch Phillies games. But they do have, hey, Castellanos is what, 4 for 4 since Bryce went down. So maybe he's just bad with Bryce and good without him. I don't know. Maybe he'll step in and
No, he just hates playing the field that much.
Guy's slow as can be.
Yeah.
Maybe he sold Ben Simmons' house and he didn't tell anyone.
You got to burn that thing to the ground, man. You got to get out. You got to get him out of there.
It's definitely going to help us defensively, though. Not have to play Schwarber and Castellanos in the outfield every game. Really makes that a little bit easier, but you never want to lose your best player to make that work. So here we are. But great show, boys. We'll see everybody next Monday. If you haven't, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to both channels. Not only Run It Back Philly, but A2D Radio as well. Hey,
300 likes.
Big fan.
300 likes.
They're free. Subscribing is free. Turning a goddamn bell on is free. Okay? What am I delusional about, D. Douglas? My whole life's baseball. So please enlighten me what I'm delusional about. That a team can't overcome something for a month and a half, 2 months. That's delusional because I'm going to tell you that to take a step back and look what happened with the Atlanta Braves last year. Okay? Just take a goddamn step back because they lost their best player. In case you guys missed it. They lost their best player. Did they make some additions? Yes. All right. They strengthened themselves, but nothing was replacing Acuna. Okay. And what did guys do? Guys stepped up. So I'm not telling you that I got the crystal ball and I'm promising it, Douglas Vickers. I'm telling you that it can happen. It can happen where they can stay in the race for the next month and a half, 2 months.
A lot of haters in the chat tonight, man.
Yeah, Broads. I don't listen. With all due respect to Hunter Brody, did a great job, but I'm not trying to be Broads. Maybe Broads trying to be me. You know what I mean? So when did I try to be somebody else? And if you're talking about DJ, I don't know who you're talking about. Richard Royce, right? But let's be real. I mean, nobody's trying to be anybody else. I'm trying to be Tom Arnone. I think Ryan Brodo's trying to be Ryan Brodo. DJ Eastwood trying to be DJ Eastwood.
My last name's too similar. Maybe that's it. Maybe
Hunter Brody's trying to be Hunter Brody. Like I think we're all trying to be ourselves and create our own niche in this game, right? So like,
what a loser. Who goes to someone else's channel? You're not my favorite one. Your channel sucks. Go over there then. What are you doing here, you loser? What you got that much time to waste? You have nothing to do? Good Lord.
Probably heard the Blake Griffin discussion and he got offended.
First off, I'm not mad, Douglas. Maybe it's your first time watching, but I'm not mad. I'm just telling you that like you can quit and say the season's over, and I can try to hang on for hope. That's what I'm doing. All right? Glass half empty. Okay? Relax.
I do agree with that. You got me there, Don.
And now, Richard, here comes the cigarette jokes. I've had the same voice since I was 5, honey. So some people's balls dropped early and some didn't. Okay? So, I mean, I can show you video proof that I had the same raspy voice since I was 5 years old. So, and that's proof in videos.
Can you send me that video, please?
Yeah, I got to find it on VHS.
Yeah, I got to see that video.
A VHS conversion.
No love for losers, man.
No, and like we love Hunter, but don't do this. Don't do this because then you make me like want to take shots at somebody I don't want to take shots at because I think he does a tremendous job. You know what I mean? But then you're gonna make me take jabs because you want to like compete. We're not competing. But if you put me in a fucking corner, all right, you put a goddamn line in a corner, I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna scratch. I'm gonna claw. All right, I'm gonna say some things I probably don't mean. So don't fucking corner me. All right, don't come in here and start cornering me. Damn it!
I don't even get triggered anymore. I don't even get triggered anymore. I just stop reading chat. To be honest with you, if people can't have sports conversations without throwing out words like "you don't know ball" and "you're delusional" and "you guys are stupid," like, come on, man, they got to be 10 years old.
R.I.B.
Run it back, I guess.
Run it back.
Well, Douglas, I'm glad you follow DJ as you should, right? And I'll just tell you, maybe you could dabble with us. Maybe you would grow to like my optimism. I don't know. I don't know. All right, I'm not here to jerk you off tonight, Douglas. I'm just here to tell you that there's always a chance. Okay? Goodness gracious. God forbid I say this team got a lot of money and they still should be able to win games without Bryce Harper. God forbid I say that because it'd be the first time in baseball history that a team was able to win games without their best player. First time ever. It's the one sport where you actually can lose your best player, and if you're good enough, still win baseball games. It's a one sport that you actually can, Douglas. Newsflash. The one sport. So I'm here to educate you on baseball. That's what I'm here to do, Doug. Okay? Because nowhere else can you do that. You can't lose Joel Embiid to make up for it. All right? Yeah, well, you can lose everybody on the Flyers. Doesn't matter. Okay? The Eagles, okay, the quarterback position, somewhere you can't lose, right? But there's other places you can lose players. Well, we saw in 2017. Maybe you can lose the quarterback position, right, and still win. But I digress. At the end of the day, like this is the one sport where you can lose a guy and maybe still compete. Are you going to go win a World Series without Bryce Harper? No, Doug. No, Douglas, you're not. First time baseball watcher, I take it. That's why I can smell the casual baseball people. I can just smell you. Sound like Rivers who? Doc Rivers? Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Guy makes a lot of money. I hope that I can live up to Doc Rivers standards. Like I sound like Doc.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Or like 20 minutes into the show, I saw like 2 or 3 trolls in the chat, and I just full screen StreamYard so I couldn't see the chat. Like that's how I did this show because it's just too distracting for me. There's 300 awesome, people that want to talk sports, and there's just 2 people that I should be able to ignore, but I just can't. So I have to hide the chat.
It's my biggest problem. It's my biggest issue. I mean, I don't want to yell tonight because I'm still recovering from the teeth. Like it's a struggle for me to do this, and I'm still here, right? And he got assholes. All right.
Marky, go back and rewind 30 minutes. We talked about Cam at length. And yes, Ted. Yes, I think he did. Yes, I did.
Yes, and Douglas, there's no blow to fuse. This is how I operate. Okay. Love you guys. Appreciate y'all watching wherever you're watching us at. All right. And hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the follow on both channels. We appreciate you, even if you're wrong. So we're out of here. See you next Monday.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, Ted, I would ask Coach Pop that question. I would ask